Hello, welcome back. Welcome back to Send Him Off. This week we are taking a step back from the club football and we're welcoming, as you can see if you're watching, a star-studded lineup to give us the lowdown on Wales' upcoming World Cup playoff semi-final against Austria. But before we introduce you to our panel, there's one person left for me to introduce. I know him as my ever-present podcasting partner. You know him as Alex. Alex, how are you doing?
I'm nervous, mate. I'm not going to lie. There's a lot in you. There's a lot in you. I am excited. I've been looking forward to this one for a long time. I didn't actually think we'd get to the qualifying phase. I'm not going to lie. I thought we'd slip right at the last minute, but it was the last game. Actually, no, I'm not going to get into that yet.
No,
because I'll let you do the introducing first.
Let's introduce the guest first, Alex. Yeah. Come on.
Sorry.
So joining us tonight, we've got presenter and football journalist Sioned Dafydd, producer and TalkSport host Jonny Owen, and Wales football legend, and actually our first ex-pro guest, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, he is. He is actually our first ex-pro.
Mr. John Hartson.
What a first!
Oh, likewise. Glad to be on. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you all for joining us. Hope you're all ready for not just this chat, but next week. I don't know if you're all as nervous as I am. Jonny, how are you feeling about it?
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm very nervous. They've done fantastic to get through. Like you said, the qualifying group, they had possibly one of the world's best international teams in that group. But in Belgium, they ran them pretty close, actually, you've got to say, in the end. But they've done brilliant, and it's a one-off game. And, hopefully if we win this one-off game, there'll be another one to come. And it's at home, which I think is a big factor for us in Wales, because we have enjoyed some prolific home form in the last few years, really. So, yeah, trepidation, really. I'm a bit like a lot of people, I'm a bit nervous about this. The charity game's got great intentions, but I do worry about playing Scotland in that if we've lost the game. That would feel for a lot of fans, because there's a bit of history with Scotland as well. But, yeah, I really hope we've got a bit too much. When I look at the squad today, I do think there's a lot of quality in there. I know we've had a few problems with injuries and stuff, but if you put a gun to my head, I would fancy us at home against Austria.
Yeah, I feel the same. I do agree with you. The home advantage is huge, isn't it? John, do you think that's going to be a huge factor in the result?
I do. I think we've had some fantastic results over the years at the Cardiff City Stadium. 35,000 there. The place is rocking. And I think if I had the choice, I would have it there over the Principality Stadium, to be honest. I know the Scotland game, we could probably fill it. There'd be 30,000 Scottish fans that would travel. We'd fill it as well, half the stadium. So, no, it's a huge key factor, I think, being at home. And it's a one-off game, it's not a two-legged affair. It's a one-off game against a good side. They've got some very good players, Austria. We'll obviously talk about some of their individuals as we carry on with this. In terms of going back to the qualification for the World Cup 2022 in November in Qatar, Belgium, for me, were always the clear favourites in the group. I think everybody was always chasing Belgium. They never lost in the qualifiers. We only lost once. And to finish above the Czech Republic, who are also a very good side, was a great achievement. I thought to finish second takes us into a playoff. And as I said, as long as we are concentrating on the Austria game, I don't think we can sort of let our thoughts think too much about the final it'll be against the Ukraine or Scotland. Hopefully that's the case anyway. Hopefully them two will play each other in June. But I don't think we can waver from this game at all. I think that Robert Page, will leave no stone unturned in terms of his preparation. He will do his due diligence on Austria. But it's a game that you have to treat the game, give them respect. And with the crowd, hopefully we can get to the final. But it'll be difficult because we know no Kiefer Moore, no Danny Ward, key players for us during the qualifiers. and there's several others as well that are missing, and one or two that have come in. So really looking forward to it. I can't wait. They're great games. You know, they're great games for me personally to have played in. Not too successful, but hopefully I'm working with S4C next week for the game. Pitch side, I'll be like a fan, obviously, because I am a fan now. That's what I am. I don't consider myself to be anything else than a supporter. I join in with the fans. I sing the anthem, and it's brilliant, you know. So very much looking forward to it, and the home factor hopefully will work out in our favour.
So, John, touching it, the squads are out today. Sioned, is there a player in there, or a couple of players, or a handful of names that you sort of raised any eyebrows at?
I saw Sioned give the old thumbs up to John there in SLC. So you'll have a good chance to speak to them, presumably before the game, if you're going to be down there.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a busy week in terms of my work. There's going to be a lot of interviews, a lot of trips down to the Vale to speak. I was speaking with Rob Page today, getting some reaction from him after the squad came out. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of coffee consumed this week. That's fair to say. To answer your question, in terms of the squad, I think the main headline for me was no Danny Ward, which was of course really disappointing. I think when I saw the story break on Twitter that Brendan Rodgers had said in his press conference that Danny Ward was going to need surgery. That's definitely the bad news, if you like, that stood out to me. But saying that, we've got Wayne Hennessy, you know, and he's Wayne Hennessy. We all love Wayne Hennessy. He's been so fantastic for us over the years. He's 2 caps away from getting to 100 caps. So I think this would be like, you know, what a way if, you know, of course, if he does get to 100.
Not too much now. Don't do it yet.
And Rob Page was actually saying today that, you know, when he made the decision to choose Danny as the number 1 keeper, Wayne Hennessy's reaction was brilliant. And Page said he couldn't have asked any more from Wayne in terms of his reaction, how he's been there for Danny, and just, you know, sort of his personality and in and around the squad. So I think, no worries with the fact that Wayne Hennessy will probably be in goal for the Austria game. One that stood out for me that I kind of feel has gone under the radar is that Rabbi Matondo's back in the squad.
I mentioned Rabbi Matondo, and we had our players to watch, and I mentioned him, and I thought it was. I'm quite excited to see him back in the team personally.
Yeah, I mean, his form out in Belgium this season has been fantastic, and he seems like bit of a plug. We did an interview with him, so that's on Scorio's Twitter page if you want to go and check that out. But he seems to finally have found his feet, because, you know, he's a young player. You know, a couple of loan moves that didn't work out. He's had his problems with injuries. I think, you know, last time when he was included in the Wales squad, he got kicked out for breaching COVID rules. So I think as a person, he's grown and matured. So it'll be interesting to see if he gets any game time to see how he does. And then, of course, the $1 million question: Gareth Bale, Aaron Ramsey, are they fit? They're in the squad. Page is very confident that they are match fit and that they will feature against Austria. So that's we'll wrap them in bubble wrap between now and next Thursday, I think.
I was gonna say, personally, I couldn't leave, like, whether he was 20%, you know, 10%, 15% fit, Gareth Bale or not, you can't not take him with you. You've got to take him. Just on the off chance you bring them on for 5 minutes and they just poke one in the back of the net, just in case you need them.
So the criticism has been levelled at Wales a lot is we're too reliant on Bale and Ramsey. But what I think is, obviously, those 2 players are the ones that they can switch on the quality straight away at any time, can't they? Regardless of their form, really. They are just world class. But I think looking at this squad now, I think we've got more informed players in this squad than we've had going into an international window for a long, long time. Brennan Johnson has scored 10 goals, 5 assists under Steve Cooper this season. Sorba Thomas he's on fire. Ben Davies is looking really, really good under Conte for Spurs. Harry Wilson, Nico Williams. The less we say about that as Swansea fans after the last couple of weeks, the better, because they tore us a new one, quite frankly, down the Swansea.com. But we are looking like we've got a lot of informed players going into this window. Johnny, do you think that'll fare well? Do you think we'll see all these informed players sort of carried on in a Wales shirt?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more really with everybody you just said. I mean, it's Harry Wilson, Brennan Johnson, Dan James in particular, all look very, very good, you know, sharp and quick. Even Isaac Davis is probably a bit unlucky not to be called in. Again, he's got pace to burn, but he's probably quite similar to them in that sense. Tom Lawrence has been very unlucky. I don't know what's happened there, whether it's something with Rob Page that he doesn't get on, because he's been sensational for Derby, really. But yeah, I do think you're right. I think we've got some really formed players up front. You know, it's the midfield that worries people a little bit, isn't there? There's nobody of that kind of quality there. But in defence, you know, a lot of my mates who are Spurs fans are saying that Ben Davies has been having, you know, some of the best games of his career really at Spurs so far. I feel a bit sorry for Joe Rodon. I really rate him as well. I almost wish he'd go somewhere like a Burnley or a Villa or something, just where he can get played.
We said Newcastle. Right?
Yeah.
The window. We thought Newcastle would be a good fit for him. It's just a shame it never happened.
Yeah, because I like players playing, you mentioned John Hartson, a Welsh legend when he played. But the thing with John was he always played, you know. That was the thing. Him and Bellas, they were always playing at the top level as well. And I think the more players that play, if they possibly can, certainly at the Premier League and the top end of the Championship, the better for us. Saying that, exactly as you say, you know, Bale and Ramsey, you know, you'd always want them in the squad for so many reasons. You know, for their experience. You know, they're both world-class players on their day. They've been there, seen it, done it, bought the T-shirt to Wales in major tournaments as well now. So it's wonderful that they've got that. And, you know, I think what Rob's trying to do is try to create a squad there that's a blend, you know, that's got experience and youth and pace. You know, you mentioned Sober Thomas. I seen him the other night at Nottingham Forest for Huddersfield in the FA Cup, and he was very, very unlucky. I thought, Huddersfield's best player, and a few other people agreed. And Brennan has been sensational. Brennan's at that point in his career where he's just getting better every game. You know, he's a big lad as well. He's 6'1.5", they say, and you know, he's 12.5 stone, and he's quick, can hold the ball up well. So there's a lot of us to be very positive about, and I really like the squad. I'm going to be honest with you. There's a few there, like I said, would possibly say we're unlucky, like a Tom Lawrence. But other than that, I thought it was a good blend.
Yeah,
you
I
say
agree with you there.
unlucky. No, I was only going to say, you say like unlucky, and I was having a look on Twitter earlier on today, and I was seeing a few complaints from fans saying about how they're a bit disappointed to see the likes of Johnny Williams still included and Chris Gunter. But, you know, general question to any of you, what's your take on that? Should we be taking that kind of experience and leaving out those younger players who are on form, or do we need that experience, that amount of experience then? Whoever wants to answer that one first, go for it.
I think John wants to go.
Go on, John.
I think Chris Gunter is still capable of doing the job. If you think, you know, Connor Roberts and Chris Gunter, they are generally the two down that right-hand side that have done very well for Wales in recent years. Nico Williams, you know, plays on the left side. Norrington Davies as well as that left wing back. I actually think Joe Rodon might start next Thursday night.
Yeah.
I think the back three will be Rodon, Ethan Ampadu and Ben Davies, three centre halves, and then Connor Roberts and Nico Williams left wing back and right back. That's what I would do. And I'd play Joe Allen, Aaron Ramsey, and Harry Wilson in the middle of the park. And then you've got Bale and Daniel James up top. That would be my team. I think it's strong down the middle of the pitch. If you look at Ampadu, Davies, Ramsey, Bale, Dan James's pace, and then you've got the likes of Sober Thomas still coming through. You know, yet to get a run in the national team, but he will come through once the other group decide. It was like myself. I retired because you had this golden generation coming through, you know, and even after that, you had the likes of Robbie Earnshaw, Craig Bellamy, and I felt I was holding up these players that were coming after me. I had to go under John Toshak, you know, because I thought, well, you know, I wasn't the player I was at 32, 33 as what I was when I was 25, when I was playing under Sparky. So I thought, well, I won my 52 caps, and it was time for me to go. Now, these players will think the same. You know, the Gareth Bale, the Ramsey, the Joe Allens, these would have all had a great time, qualified for 2 major tournaments back to back. They will come to a decision not too far in the distant future. Obviously, a lot will depend whether we qualify. And obviously then we will take the same group of players to the World Cup. But at some stage, these guys will finish playing. And then this is when then you can use the Brennan Johnsons and the, you know, the younger players, the Sober Thomases, one or two others, and that's when they'll come in, and that will be their time to take the national team forward then. So I'm not overly concerned about you know, bringing in, not overly concerned continuing with the senior group, because I think the senior players, because I think you need as many senior players in the national team. It was one of John Toshak's regrets that when John took the job, Gary Speed, God rest his soul, retired. I retired. Robbie Savage wasn't really included much. Mark Pembridge retired. Andy Johnson retired. Andy Melville retired. Danny Gabardon finished. He lost so many caps, did John Toshak. And obviously that meant then that he had to blood these Hennessy's and the Allens and the Ramseys and the Bales and the other guys. These all came through at the same time. And that happened to work for John, because John got a lot of criticism initially when he first took the job, that he wasn't winning any games and the squad was too young, too inexperienced. But he was very clever. You know, you look at the guys in their first major tournament, they won 30, 40 caps. So they built all that experience up, this latest golden generation. So for me, I'm not overly concerned about not using these youngsters, because I have no doubt they're going to be a part of the Welsh national team for a long, long time. Once one or two others have decided to call it a day, which naturally will happen.
I think as well, if I could just add to John's point, never underestimate the power of senior players off the pitch.
Yes.
Having them, because I feel like we've got a very young squad. My maths is terrible, but if you worked out the average age, I'm pretty sure, you know, it would be pretty young. And I think just having your Gunters, your Johnny Williamses with those young squad members can have a massive impact, arguably more of an impact off the pitch as it would on the pitch. And it's going to be a massive occasion, as in, you know, I'm 25. In terms of my life, this is hands down one of the biggest games, if not the biggest game, apart from obviously that semi-final at the Euros, as you know, from what I can remember. So, and some of these players are younger than me, which freaks me out all the time. So having people like Chris Gunter around, just in the changing room, just in the hotel when they're chilling, I think will have a massive, massive impact on these young players. And I think that is really, really important.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean,
there we are. If you are listening and you are doubtful about Chris Gunter and Johnny Williams, you've just been told. So
yeah,
sit
you
down,
have.
please. Thank you very much.
John touched on it earlier, no Kiefer Moore. Johnny, is that as big a miss as people are making out, or does our game plan allow us to adapt? Because we have played a couple of games without him in qualifying. So how do you feel about that?
Well, it's very interesting. I wish I could show you. I wrote down my team, but you know and it's the same team as what John has picked. Really, I think the team kind of picks itself. Really, I like Kiefer Moore when he came in. I thought he made an incredible difference to the team. He just gave us an outlet, a big lad that can hold the ball up. He can turn as well. You know, he's pretty good with his feet for a big guy. His aerial prowess is second to none. You know, so he gave us so many different options. I felt, you know, which is so important on a football pitch. I think we will miss him. You know, because especially in international football, he's very difficult to deal with. I think he's very unlucky with bookings. You know, I think he gets booked sometimes when he just runs on the pitch because he's a big lad and the defender points to him, you know, to the referee. But yeah, I think, you know, if we beat Austria, you know, I think he'll probably come back. It was very interesting for me when Ryan Giggs was the manager. He raved about him, and he kind of said, didn't he, that he changed everything really in that qualifying round that we went through to get to the Euros, where we were really struggling. You know, we'd lost out in Croatia and Hungary, and a lot of people wrote us off. And he sort of became the difference in the team, really. He gave us a different way of playing. Saying that, I do think we got enough, as we've said earlier. You know, I think Gareth up front there, as a kind of a false nine, they call it now in the modern game, does give us sort of, you know, something extra. And, you know, you can't underestimate, you know, what it means, Gareth Bale being on the pitch. Brennan Johnson is a very good example. You know, when he first went to Wales, with the squad, first thing he said to me when he come back, he was going, you know, Gareth Bale spoke to me, you know, and it was like, that meant so much to him. And, you know, you can't, you can't really underestimate what that means. Everything, you know, John was saying, and Sioned as well, even in the TV world and the film, when you get a good producer, get somebody with experience who's a presenter, and it just calms everything down. And you've got that with football as well, you know, and this is what happens with players like Bale and, you know, Gunter's probably the best example. Of course, they're going to bring him into the squad, and he'll probably end up in the Wales coaching setup, I'd imagine, because he patently cares about Wales, wants to be there, and you can't underestimate what having that big game experience means. You know, Sean had mentioned it just now. It'll be a huge match, our biggest certainly since, you know, Denmark in the Euros, and then qualifying terms since that game against Ireland at home. You know, well, that was another massive game. If we won that, we'd have qualified for the World Cup. So, you know, I think the manager will be acutely aware that he needs the right balance in there, you know, and, you know, coming back to what you said about Kiefer, yes, we'll miss him, but I think, you know, we'll still hopefully have enough up front.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Can I just go back, boys?
Absolutely.
Sorry. Can I just go back 1 second? I would just tinker slightly with that midfield, right? I went Alan, Ramsey, Wilson. The reason I went that way is because I would play Ramsey in a further forward role, or, you know, in front of them two, and I would play Joe Morrell possibly instead of Harry Wilson, just because then you've got Alan and Morrell, and that will free Ramsey to go. But obviously Joe Morrell misses the Austria game. He's involved in the squad, but he's suspended for the Austria game. So he's come in, but he's not able to play. So that was the only little change I would possibly make. And it's up to Robert Page whether Mepham comes in for Roden or Ampadu. He could make 1 or 2 changes defensively. But I think the wing backs and Nico Williams and Connor Roberts, that is almost a certain.
Yeah.
I think it's a shame for Connor Roberts at the minute that he's not getting more club football, because, you know, we've seen what he can do in a Wales shirt and in a Swansea shirt as well. It'd just be nice to have him sort of a bit more match fit, to be honest, going into this game. He has been
playing more recently, and he's impressed me. I watched him against Arsenal. He played him off the park.
I've missed, in all fair, I missed that one, but I would like to see him have a bit more game time this season.
And I'm a massive fan. I'm a huge fan of Kiefer Moore. I've got behind him from the word go. And it's interesting because Ryan Giggs, when I played for 10 years with the national team, it was Giggs, Hartson, Bellamy. And always we played with that target man.
Yeah.
It wasn't me, it was Ewan Roberts, it was Nathan Blake. Mark Hughes loved the big target man. Ryan Giggs was used to playing for Man United, running at defenders, popping it into the front, having that focal point, and then you've got the runners off the big man. And he's exceptional in the air. He's almost unplayable when he gets a 1, 2, 3 jump. He's got such a spring, and obviously his size and physique. I think he's mobile. He runs in behind. And what he's done as well for Wales, which is very important, is he gets really important goals. He gets big goals, and he gets important goals. Puts himself up there. You know, how many times have we seen him coming off battered and bruised and with bandages over his head?
I was going to say that.
It looks like he'd been for a night out in Cardiff half the time. But, if you look at him, he gives everything. He's so brave. He battles for every ball. He's very, very honest. And hence, moving on to Cardiff from Wigan, moving now to, is it Bournemouth he's at now, isn't it, from Cardiff? Yeah. So his career is progressing. It's just a shame that obviously he's not involved, but I'm a huge fan, and I think of all the players out of this group, I think he's the one that's made the biggest difference. When he came in, he was at Cardiff. I might have been playing at Wigan. People were saying, well, you know, nobody's heard of him. He doesn't score an awful lot of goals. He's at Wigan in League One or League Two, wherever they're playing. But you know what? He came in. He put all that to one side, and he more than proved himself that he was capable of wearing that number 9 shirt for his country. And I think he's been exceptional, and he's a massive, huge loss to the national team, just in terms of the option that he gives you. Yeah. From set pieces, defensively, for set pieces 4, them diagonal balls where he can peel off the defender's shoulders, and then the likes of Ramsey can go and get through the middle and gamble into the box. And he's very, very reliable. When it comes up to him, he gets a hold of it, wins fouls, gets the team up the pitch. he just plays like an out-and-out number 9. He's learning that role, playing between the width of them 18-yard box. Don't run the channels too often. We need you there as a focal point. And I think he's been outstanding for the national team as Kiefer Moore. And I believe he's a massive loss.
I agree. Huge loss. Huge loss. So the Wales squad came out today, as you said. The Austria squad also came out. There's a couple of names in there that I've sort of highlighted.
I'm slightly embarrassed to say I haven't actually seen the
Alex, no
squad.
preparation.
Well, yeah, no, I know. Hey, come on.
I'm going to send him off, guys.
You're just worried about Wales, aren't you? You don't
That's
care.
Hey,
Doesn't
this isn't an Austrian badge, all right? This is an Austrian badge.
Doesn't matter who we're playing. So the 3 names I picked out are Alaba, Sabitzer, I think that's how you say it, and Marko Arnautovic, who where's he playing now? Bologna,
as it goes, I had 2 of the 3 as well, to be honest with you. So stuff your prep, Sam.
Yeah, there we are. I think he's playing in Italy now for Bologna. But I mean, when he pulls on an Austria shirt, he just always seems to score.
He's another striker. He reminds me a bit like Kiefer Moore in the sense of he'll bag you an important goal and he'll always be there when you need him to be there, sort of thing. And I find that's what Kiefer Moore is up to sort of these days with Wales. Like he's finding that role and he'll bag that important goal, like John was saying. But yeah, what's your take on
Maverick? He's a maverick. That's what he is.
I agree.
He can be hot, outstanding, unplayable. The guy's got so much talent, so much ability. We saw it at Stoke, we saw it at West Ham, and now you said he's at Bologna, went and played in China, wanted a new deal off West Ham, played up a little bit, played a little bit lazy, a little bit off the cuff. But when he wants to play and when he's on it, and he's got a manager that he respects and he wants to go and play well for, then Arnautovic is a game changer. He can win you a game. Obviously at Alaba, at Real Madrid, he's 35 years of age now, as David Alaba, but played over 450 games for Bayern Munich. Now he's at Real Madrid. He's a quality player, plays left back for the national team, plays through the middle for Real Madrid as a midfield player. And you talk about Sabitzer. Sabitzer's outstanding, Bayern Munich. He's there, almost there, like number 10. But they've got players playing in the Bundesliga. The centre half plays for Freiburg and Red Star Belgrade. Belgrade. Yeah, so Dragovic had a spell at Leicester as well, I think he did. Yeah. So, you know, as you said, I think you are right. You can't concentrate on them too much. They're a decent team, but Scotland drew and beat them in the qualifiers out of the 2 games they played against them. Yes, they beat Israel, Austria. They beat Israel 4-2. They lost to Denmark. They beat Moldova 4-1, but you know Moldova finished second bottom, I think, in the group. So they are capable of scoring goals on their day. But you know, I think you're right. I think if we play to the way we can, to the best of our ability, you know, I don't think it's a bad draw to be going up against Austria. With that, I say that with all due respect to them and all their players and their supporters and everything else. They'll have aspirations of getting to play in the World Cup as well. But we have to make sure we take care of the home advantage and make sure our key players, the Bales, the Ramseys, the Allens, the Dan Jameses, these guys are on it. Because when we played Russia back in 2003 and 4, we stumbled big time. We weren't good enough. The occasion got to us. This group have just got to the last 2 major tournaments. They know how to win. They know how to get it. They know to get it done. Back then, outstanding players. But we froze. We froze that night against Russia in 2003. We can't afford to freeze. It was our own fault. Take full responsibility for it, all the players. We just weren't good enough on the night, you know, and we all live with the regrets, blah, blah, blah. This group can do something exceptionally good, get to the Holy Grail, which is the World Cup. You know, for everything Gareth Bale's done, 4 Champions Leagues, you know, God knows amount of La Ligas, Spanish Cups, a superstar, the best foreign import ever to leave these shows. Gareth Bale, what he's achieved abroad is incredible. Never played in the World Cup. you know, so what it would mean to him. So I think Pagey will get them all ready, and just hope we do it, boys. Just hope we do it.
I don't know about Robert Page. I'd have you in the
I
dressing
know,
room
I was
after
literally
that,
about
John.
to say
Yeah.
exactly the same thing. What a
Don't
penalty.
forget that.
I know Robert. I played with Rob for years. We kids together. We used to travel up. Pagey was at Watford. I was at Luton. We were 16. Pagey's a year older than me. And I played against him, Watford, Luton, West Ham, Watford. He was captain of Watford. Good centre-half. He's an organiser. He's a talker. He's made for management. And I'm glad, you know, he's got his opportunity. And I just hope he gets it done, because it would be one, you know, it'd be superb on his CV if he could get Wales to a World Cup.
Absolutely. Given all that, Sioned, quite bluntly, are we favourites?
Good question. Just quickly, I've got Gareth Bale looking down on us here on my on my
Saint
living
Gareth.
room wall. Saint
Gareth up there.
The home advantage, I think, definitely will make us favourites for this game. Just to go back to Austria, I've, funnily enough, just come back from Vienna. We filmed a little pre-match preview package for Scoria, which will be out hopefully over the next few days. And it's a bit bizarre because there's not actually that much hype out there at the moment in terms of the media, because the Winter Olympics have just been. And for Austria, the Winter Olympics are the main event. You know, they said their skiers are their David Beckhams, you know, that they're the celebrities. So I was amazed, like, you know, just looking through the back pages of the newspapers, there was actually very little about this game. You know, obviously the closer the game gets, then there will be more attention given to it. So I found that really interesting, because I feel like since we played Belgium, these playoffs are the only thing that we've been talking about from a football perspective. So it was really interesting to get the vibe out there that everyone's pretty chilled. It's not really that high on the priority list at the moment. But there was one line that I really liked from a journalist that we spoke to, and he described this Austrian team as a Ferrari that's being driven like a tractor, because they've got the players, they've got fantastic attacking players, but the manager, Franco Foda, is very happy to sit back, very happy to play a very defensive style. So it'll be really interesting to see what their tactics are for this game. But going back to your question, I think we are favourites. Like I said, the home advantage will be massive. And Austria, over the years, they've been quite inconsistent. I think France 98 was the last time that they featured at the World Cup. But we've been really used to seeing them at the Euros, and you know, they have done quite well. They got to the last 16 like Wales did last year. They took Italy to extra time, who of course went on to win the whole thing. And it's a bit like the French rugby team. It's that thing of which Austrian side is gonna turn up. So I think we can't take anything for granted at all. But like Jonny and John have touched on, I think our starting 11 pretty much picks itself by now, and it's pretty solid, I would say. So I'm excited. It's going to be, like I said, it's going to be a massive occasion. I think it's going to be an emotional one. John, I hope you've got your I hope you've got tissues ready just in case.
So as a former player, honestly, I would much rather be a player than a soldier. No, believe me, because as a player, you've got your job to do. It's on your shoulders. You're going to do your job, do it right, perform to your best of your ability. There's not much nerves. Honestly, there'll be anxiousness in the tunnel. Of course, you'll be thinking about it. The players will, you know, they'll have to relax now and have a good week's training. Pagey will settle things down. They'll have their pool table and they'll have a relaxation. The masseurs will be there. There'll be pools, there'll be table tennis. They'll relax the players as much as they can. Closer to the game you get a little bit more anxious. You know, your family, leaving family tickets and things like this. And you know what's at stake. You want to do it for the supporters. You want to do it for your family. You want to do it for your teammates, all these things. But I would much rather be playing. I feel a lot more nervous now, and I'll be really nervous next Thursday for the lads. When you're playing, you can just you're there, you're in it. You don't feel it as much. Do you know what I mean? In terms of the nerves. But the fans are just so desperate. They want it so much. And obviously the players care. They really do care as much as they can to try and get it done. But I would much rather be playing than be a fan, because I think the fans You know, they really get so nervous, and you know, they know what's at stake. They're desperate to get to a World Cup.
You probably could go out and do a job, to be honest with you, John. I won't be surprised to see you lace up your boots and come on half time or something like that. I really wouldn't.
A bit late for that, to be honest.
I don't know. But no, I was looking at the results, Austria's results, and the only sort of, well, I wouldn't say a crumb of comfort, but sort of a degree of comfort I take from it is like that they were getting wins against North Macedonia, against Moldova, and they were drawing to, you know, Scotland. I know we got, what was the score with Denmark when we played them in the World Cup?
4-1.
Was it 4-0? Or 4, oh yeah, at least we scored a goal. They didn't even get that, you know. So it's little bits like, I feel like we're a better side than Scotland, and they only drew 2-2 with them. So I like to think, based on that and based on sort of the results they're getting, I like to think, you know, I think we will have the slight advantage on this Austrian team.
They give us a torrid time. Do you remember about 4 or 5 years ago in the qualifiers when Ben Woodburn scored? They gave us a torrid time the first half down in the CCS. Do you remember? Anatovic really could have scored a few goals. We drew 2-2 out there. Do you remember in Vienna? Joe Allen scored that. So they're a good side. You know,
yeah, no, that's me. That's not me. You know, saying that we're miles better than them. I think it will be close. I dare not say that, but no, I think it will be close. But I do like to think, you know, of course, you know, being Welsh, I like to think we can.
Yeah, no, I think
advantage.
It's interesting what Sean had said about them playing a slightly more defensive game. You know, our job, Ireland did that amazing job in us when John's old gaffer, Martin O'Neill, where they just sat back and made us come onto them, and then, you know, one chance. And that's sometimes the danger in playing a team that will sit deep on a low block, as they call it now. And sometimes why it suits us playing away from home Wales. We get some terrific results away because we can get in behind teams and we've got so much pace. And I do think that, you know, they'll be difficult to break down. So we've got to be patient. You know, you've got to work the ball a lot. You've got to give players like Ramsey there who can, you know, deliver that killer pass. So it's going to be, you know, John's right. It's going to be a hard night on the nerves, I think, for everybody, because
I don't know. The
it's
thing
been
is,
one of those games.
We always seem to end up with the same teams, don't we? It's always Belgium. It's Austria seem to creep in now and again.
Yeah.
What's the other one? No, is it Northern Ireland or the Republic of Ireland?
Republic of Ireland.
Yeah, Republic of Ireland. Yeah.
You know, we should know what they're all like by now. So I don't know why we're nervous about it. We should know by now.
Do you know what we really need more than anything else? A bit of luck.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's about time.
Nice.
A little bit of luck. Need the big fella up there to give us a break.
Nobody walk over any drains or anything.
Come off the post, go the other side of the post. It needs to come off the post, the inside, and roll in. You know, we need Austria to miss a couple. Our goalkeeper's going to have to play really well. Can Ramsey have one of those lung bursting runs into the box and get one of them terrific goals? When he's in, he's a brilliant finisher. You know, he's a goal-scoring midfielder. Ramsey bases his game on getting goals. That's what he is. You know, can Gareth have one of his nights? Can he whack in a free kick from 30 yards or put something on, on Dan James, who's running in and he gets a header? He showed he's got a great header when we Czech Republic 1-0, didn't he?
Yeah.
And Bale dug up that cross. What a header, smallest man on the pitch. What about the desire that he showed that night to win that header? So we're going to need a bit of luck. Every time, you know, you're playing big games, cup finals, it always, a lot of the time, hinges on maybe a refereeing call, anything. The margins are like that, you know, so we need that bit of luck as well, more than anything else.
For sure. We've all sort of skirted over it a little bit, but we're gonna draw to a close.
Is that time? Is it? It is. Is that
it's
time?
Prediction time.
Right.
Prediction time. So I'm gonna come to Mr. Jonny Owen first. Can we get a prediction? Are you gonna put your neck on the line?
Yeah, I think it's going to be just one goal in it. 1-0, Wales 1-0, and like John said, a bit of luck, a bit of magic from somebody, and it'll see us over the line. It'll be, like I said, a night that'll be taut on the nerves. But I just think, like I say, in the home crowd, the thing about playing for a home for Wales is it doesn't make us nervous. You know, John had a great point where he said about the Russia game in the Millennium Stadium. I felt the crowd were nervous that night, funnily enough. But weirdly, that game against Hungary sort of allayed so many fears for me as a 50-year-old Welshman, because I thought, God, you know, the team have been there and done it, and were quite comfortable that night, and against a good Hungary team who, you know, beaten us out there. And, you know, the crowd seemed to feed off it, you know, the way the the anthem is sung now, the lights before the game, you know, the noise they make, the bands that play, you know, the Barry horns, all that kind of stuff has made it a different place to watch football for the Welsh team. And I just think that could get us over the line, being home, that crowd, bit of luck, bit of magic, and a tight 1-0 win.
Sioned?
One thing that is certain is I'm going to get emotional during that anthem. I can see it now. So, John, like I said, bring tissues, if that's all right. I'm going to go 2-1 Wales. Agree with Johnny. It's going to be tight. I've got a feeling we could see some Gareth Bale magic. It just feels like it could be written in the stars. If he can score a screamer, gets us to the potentially the playoff final to then get to the World Cup. Who knows? So yeah, I've got a good feeling. I hope I haven't just jinxed it, but I'm going to go 2-1 Wales. 2 for 2 so far. John Hartson, are you going to complete the trio?
I agree with Sioned. I think both teams will score. I think they've got players, and we might have to score a couple or two in the game. So I think it'll be close again. It'll be end to end. I'd love Kiefer Moore, because set pieces, whipping them balls, and to have him on the end of one of them crosses, he's a huge loss, as I alluded to earlier on. So I think there'll be a tight game. It'll be end to end, two good teams going at it, and I think we'll just nick it. A bit of magic, and I think they might score on the night because they got good players. And I think 2-1. I agree with you, Sioned. I think all on Wales, and let's do it. Let's do it.
I think the key is to make sure there are no deck chairs hanging around for David Alaba to pick up if he any Austrian celebration. So let's get rid of all chairs from Cardiff Stadium.
let's ban them. Alex, do you want to throw yours in?
I think we're going to get battered, unfortunately, but no, I'm not. Well, I was listening to you when you were talking about the Bale magic and John Hartson with his speech about it, and I was really getting fired up. And I remember, to be honest, we're probably going to get a bit of luck. It's going to be an own goal. It'll come off somebody's face or arse in a corner. But you know what? I'll celebrate it just as much. I won't be bothered. I think it's going to be 1-0, and I do genuinely think it'll be an own goal.
There we are.
I'm going to put that out there.
Yeah,
I'll take it. I'll take that.
Yeah, no, honestly.
Win, I couldn't care what.
Neither could I.
We need to get over the. By the way, we have a final then as well.
Yeah.
A final to see to, but we've got to take care of this one. And I know Robert will be one game at a time. Robert Page should be like, let's get this one done. No thoughts about Scotland or the Ukraine, or if that eventually happens and it is the Ukraine, obviously from their point of view, there's a lot more to think about than football matches at the minute with everything that's going on in the Ukraine. So obviously all our thoughts are with the Ukraine as well, obviously what's going on. But, let's get this one in the can. And I wish all the lads all the very best. So I might pop in on Thursday night just for 5 minutes to shake a few of the boys' hands, and Pagey, just wish them well.
There we are, absolutely.
Give him our best as well, John, just for us.
Give him
send him off. Thank you very much.
I'm sure.
What about you, Sam? Sam, what's your prediction?
Yeah, go on, Sam.
I'm gonna go 1-0 Wales as well. I'm feeling a little bit of 70th to 80th minute magic from Mr. Bale. I'm feeling a very specific one again, but I just got a feeling it's gonna be a bit of a dull first half. I feel like there's going to be all the excitement in the stadium, and by half time, everyone's going to be like, "This is horrific! Like nothing's happened," because of the way Austria play. I think it'll take us a bit of time to get into the game, but I think eventually, I think we'll crack them. I think the home crowd will see us over the line.
We're either all going to look incredibly intelligent, or like a bunch of clowns, and there's no in between with that, is there? But there we are.
It's usually how it goes for me on this, isn't it?
Yeah, that is, to be honest.
It's usually the latter as well.
Yeah.
John, Johnny, Sioned, thank you so much for joining us. It has been an absolute pleasure. It's been a joy.
Treat,
isn't it?
Yeah.
No worries. It's been a treat, boys. I've loved it. And Sioned, take care, everybody. Johnny, I'll speak to you soon.
John. Cheers, Sioned.
Cheers. Thank you guys for listening.
Thanks everyone for listening.
Thanks everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
And thank you guys for listening. It's been an absolute treat for us. This one, haven't it, Al?
Yeah, really enjoyed. Sam, I believe we're going to do Is it the store? What is it called? The shop? What do we have? Merchandise. That's it.
Yes, we are. Plug in the merch. You can find
Plug
us.
the merch.
You can find us on Twitter at Send Him Off Pod, Instagram Send Him Off Podcast, YouTube, Spotify. Just search for Send Him Off Podcast. You've probably already found us if you're listening.
Yeah, if you're
And,
listening, you know where we are. But tell everybody,
hopefully-
and send them to where you found us.
Yeah, and go to www.sendhimoffpodcast.com and buy a little Send Him Off mug.
Buy a
or
hoodie, buy a
t-shirt,
mug,
you
buy
know?
a pillow, buy something, buy whatever you want.
Anyway,
Why
I
not?
think all that's left is to say poor luck, boys, and the final beckons if all goes
Up
to
the
plan.
red wall. Up the red wall.
Yes, exactly. Right. We'll see you next week. Enjoy your football. Try to control your nerves and enjoy the game. Ta-ra.
Take care.